Welcome to Online Classroom by Department of School Education.
Hello students, I am Ritu Bhandari, lecturer English from Shahid-e-Azam Sukhdev Thapar Government Girls Senior Secondary Smart School, Bhatnagar Chowk, Ludhiana. We have done No Time for Fear, Part 1 story. You must be eagerly waiting for Part 2 story. You are waiting for it now? Let's do it.
Look at this beautiful scenery, students, and let's recapitulate Part 1 with the help of these pictures. The two young Canadians were on their longest date. It was a hike to Balu Pass, 2050 meters up in British Columbia's Glacier National Park. The hike had gone smoothly until they reached the top, but there they had been caught in a snow flurry. They had to spend night in one of the park's alpine cabins. As the young couple was descending back, a very big grizzly had attacked Bob. Malcolm saw that the grizzly was going to attack Bob. He took out his hunting knife from his belt and ran towards Grizzly. He jumped on her back. He stabbed the knife up to the handle into Grizzly's neck fur. The grizzly left Bob and turned towards Malcolm. The grizzly roared and snapped her head backwards. It sent Malcolm's knife flying and broke his wrist. The grizzly grabbed Malcolm with both her paws and squeezed him against her chest. She swatted at him with huge claws. The first blow took off his hair in one piece like a wig. Then she clutched him and rolled him over the ground. The grizzly racked his face repeatedly. Malcolm jabbed the grizzly with his fist at her sensitive nose, but his jabs had no effect. Malcolm stopped struggling. The grizzly thought that Malcolm was dead and went away. This was part 1. Now we will continue with the chapter.
Students, before starting the chapter, I want to test you. I have planned a very interesting activity for you.
Pre-reading activity. Students, in part 1, we did words and their meanings. Now, you have to match the words with their meanings. Are you ready? Okay, let's do it. The first word is huddle. What is the meaning of huddle? Yes, come on. We have done it. It's crowd together. Very good. What is the meaning of freak? Freak. Freak is a person who is considered to be unusual because of the way he looks. Harrowing. Harrowing means, yes, harrowing means very shocking or frightening. What is haversack? Haversack is a bag that is carried on the back, especially when walking in the country. Glisten. Yes, glisten means to shine. Excellent, students. After doing this, now we are ready to read the text. Let's read the text now. We are going to continue the chapter from paragraph 13. Yes, Malcolm lay still for a while, trying to take stock of his injuries. His wrist wouldn't move and must be broken. One kneecap had been torn off and he couldn't feel any front teeth with his tongue. He could partially see out of one eye but was afraid to turn his head because he saw loose facial skin hanging down. So Malcolm is badly injured by the grizzly and he is not able to even move because he can see his own loose facial skin hanging down, his wrist is broken, and he couldn't feel his front teeth. He's badly injured by the grizzly. Let's read further. He felt no revulsion, just an aching hope that it hadn't happened, that it was all a nightmare. Spotting his haversack up toward the trail, he determined to reach it and use it as a bandage. Tediously, he dragged himself up backward. His one good eye kept sticking shut, and periodically he had have to stop and open it with his good hand. Finally, he reached the haversack and lay back, physically drained from the exertion. He prayed and wondered whether he would live and what he had looked like if he did. So he is very much afraid of his looks also, and he is even scared. He is praying and wondering whether he would live. Long road back. Meanwhile, Barb, her arm slashed and her hair flecked with blood, had run along the winding trail to the lodge. Staggering into the lobby, she cried, "A grizzly got Malcolm. He can't walk, help!" And then she burst into sobs. People appeared from nowhere, wardens, fellow workers, lodge guests. The first that Malcolm heard of his rescuer was the static of a walkie-talkie. He had sat propped against a stump for an hour and a half and was still conscious. Warden Gordie Peto, Malcolm's good friend, ran to him. "Well, Paul," he said, "I always end up looking after you. How you doing, man?" So, Warden Gordie Peto, he was also friend of Malcolm. "I am okay, but kind of hungry," Malcolm replied gamely. "Guess I really did it. This time, Gordie, I think my wrist is broken." Gordie sucked in his breath. He saw bloodless white head. The bear's swipe had cleanly lifted off the scalp and blood vessels, exposing a layer of tissues next to the skull. So who came for the first time to help Malcolm? Yes, he was Gordie Peto, and he was also scared to see Malcolm's condition. Ned Clough, a first aid attendant, wrapped Malcolm's face and the chewed gashes on his legs in the gauze, then stabbed him in a stretcher. They radioed for a rescue helicopter to pick him up at a clearing down the trail and take him to Queen Victoria Hospital in Revelstoke. So, who was the first aid attendant? Yes, he was Ned Clough. And now Malcolm has been shifted to the hospital in Revelstoke. So, what happened next? Surgery began with a 7-hour emergency operation. The surgeons put in more than 1,000 stitches. Restoring Malcolm's face was like putting a jigsaw puzzle together, one attending doctor later said. So he was so badly wounded that it was, even for the doctor, it was like putting a jigsaw puzzle together. Malcolm was then moved to a hospital in his hometown, Edmonton. He remembered little of the first weeks. He was under heavy sedation, and his mind wandered endlessly, drifting between dreams and semi-consciousness. He underwent 41 skin graft operations. In time, life began to look up Doctor assured Malcolm that he would soon look fine. After the grafts were finished and the rolls of gauze came off. But one day close to Christmas, when the nurse was changing his bandages and was called away momentarily, Malcolm edged over to the bathroom mirror for the first look at him. Even Malcolm was anxious to see how he looked after the accident, after that grizzly's attack. He was not able to rest. Even in the semi conscious state, also, he was thinking how he would look. It almost made him sick. The doctors had tried to repair the damage but constructing a nose from arm muscle and by grafting skin from leg across his face. He had no hair and thick scars crisscrossed one side of his face. The skin was still puffy and an ugly shiny red. That one incident started a rejection period lasting weeks. Malcolm refused to see parents or friends, hating the world and himself. He couldn't bear the thought of people's stares. He ignored the growing stack of letters from Bob. How could anyone love a freak? But Bob wouldn't give up. She wrote to Malcolm faithfully 5 to 7 letters a week, even though he never responded. Malcolm's friends who knew Bob wrote to her about his self-pity. He simply can't believe you care about him, looking the way he does, they told her. One day, shortly after his Christmas time despondency, Bob surprised Malcolm by walking into his hospital room after a journey of 1,250 kilometers. The two spent long hours together, talking across the barriers of bandages. Malcolm was stubbornly aloof, but her presence forced him to reminisce about the good times he had shared with her. Perhaps she does not love me, he thought. After all, I am the same person she said she loved last summer. Whatever doubts Malcolm had were dispelled in January when he received a marriage proposal in the mail. It's a leap year, Bob explained demurely. Her persistence began to pay off. Though Malcolm would not answer her proposal, he did promise to visit her. In February 1972, 5 months after the accident, an unsteady, slim figure with a badly scarred face and one arm in a cast stepped off a train at Fort Langley near Vancouver. Malcolm was promptly smothered by a delighted Bob. So Bob was still there to welcome him. Bob had already proposed him, but she was waiting for Malcolm's reply now. And a few days later she had her answer. Malcolm drove her to the town of Langley and stopped at a jewelry store so that they could choose an engagement ring. Bob, smiling and crying simultaneously, was overwhelmed. On 21st July 1973, they were married. Meanwhile, Malcolm discovered that word of his exploit had spread all across Canada. To his surprise, it had never occurred to him that he could have run and left Bob with the grizzly, and he had never seen his actions as heroic. But actually, Malcolm was a real hero. Do you agree with me? Yes? Yes. The Royal Human Society, London, awarded him the Stanhope Gold Medal for performing the bravest deed reported that year in the entire Commonwealth. He received the gold medal for bravery from the Royal Canadian Humane Association and the Carnegie Medal for heroism from the Carnegie Hero Fund Commission. Today, Malcolm and Bob live near Vancouver. Except for scars and harrowing memories, they seem little different from any of Vancouver's other couples. Sometimes people ask Bob if she married Malcolm out of a sense of obligation. She says, I loved Malcolm before the accident and I always will love him. Handicaps should be accepted in life. Scars don't change the person. So, this was the idea. This was the thinking of Bob. Bob wanted to marry Malcolm. Why? Because she was aware of this thing that Malcolm loved him and the handicaps don't change the person inside. He was the same person whom she loved before the accident, and scars don't change the person. So this is the story, students. Post-reading activity. You have to answer the questions from the text. The very first question is, who was Godi Pato? What did he say to Malcolm? And the answer to this question is, Godi Pato was a warden. He was a good friend of Malcolm. When he reached Malcolm for help, Malcolm was still conscious. Godi Pato told Malcolm that he always ended up looking after him. He also asked Malcolm how he was feeling. Very good, students. Next question. Who was Ned Clough? How did he help Malcolm? Answer is, Ned Clough was first aid attendant. He wrapped Malcolm's face and the chewed gashes on his legs in gauze. Then he strapped Malcolm in stretcher. Malcolm was then taken to Queen Victoria Hospital in Revelstoke. Very good, students. What, according to the doctor, was like putting a jigsaw puzzle together? Answer is, according to one of the doctors of Queen Victoria Hospital in Revelstoke, the restoring Malcolm's face was like putting a jigsaw puzzle together. The next question, students, it is, what made Malcolm almost sick? And the answer is, Malcolm underwent 41 skin graft operations. The doctor assured Malcolm that he would soon look fine. One day, Malcolm got an opportunity to see his face in the mirror. It almost made him sick. He had no hair. Thick scars crisscrossed one side of his face. The skin was still puffy and ugly shiny red. The next question. Why did he ignore Bob's letters? The answer is, Malcolm had seen his ugly face in the mirror. It started a period of rejection. Malcolm refused to see his parents and his friends. He thought nobody could love a freak like him. Therefore, he ignored the letters from Bob. The next question, students. Bob wrote to Malcolm, "It's a leap year. What is the significance of this term?" Yes, students, the answer is Malcolm ignored the letters from Bob, but Bob kept on writing letters to Malcolm. She even visited him in the hospital. Now, Malcolm thought that perhaps she did love him. In a leap year, a woman can propose to a man. Thus, Bob was asking Malcolm to marry her. The next question is, when did they get married? It's very easy, students. Malcolm and Bob got married on 21st July 1973. The next question is, why did Bob marry Malcolm? Very beautiful answer given by Bob. End lines of the chapter. Yes, Bob married Malcolm because she loved him. In Bob's own words, "I loved Malcolm before the accident and I always will love him." Handicaps should be accepted in life. Scars don't change a person. One important long question, students. It's very important. The long question is, write a note on Malcolm's encounter with the grizzly. The answer to this question is, Malcolm saw that the grizzly had attacked Bob. She had dug her teeth into the back of Bob's neck. Malcolm took a hunting knife from his belt and stabbed it up to the handle into the grizzly's neck fur. The grizzly roared and snapped her head backwards. It sent Malcolm's knife flying and broke his wrist. The grizzly grabbed Malcolm with both the paws and squeezed him against her chest. She swatted at him with huge claws. The first blow took off his hair in one piece like a wig. Then she clutched him and rolled him over the ground. The grizzly racked his face repeatedly. Malcolm jabbed the grizzly with his fist at her sensitive nose, but his jabs had no effect. Malcolm stopped struggling. She thought Malcolm was dead and went away. So this was the long question.
Students, so this was all about the chapter. No time for fear. It was very interesting story. You must have liked the story. Now I want to tell you, for any language, all the skills, which are the 4 skills? Listening, speaking, reading and writing. All are important. Reading we are doing, writing we are doing, listening skill is given to you. Now what is left? The pronunciation part, the speaking part. So I have planned an activity for you. I am going to speak some words and you have to speak those words aloud with me. This will definitely enhance your speaking skills.
Here are these words. You have to say the following words aloud with me. The first word is ghost. Yes, it's ghost. Very good, students. The second word is ghastly. Very good, ghastly. The third word is doubt. Students, B is silent. Doubt. Yes. The next word is lamb. Again B is silent. Lamb. Very good. Next word is knife. Very common word. It's not knife. It's knife. Very good. Let's Speak. Knee. Yes, it's knee. Again, K is silent. The seventh one is adjective. Very good, students. Adjective. The next word is adjust. Very good. Adjust. The ninth one is resign. Very good. Resign. And the last word, assign. Very good. Assign. So this was the pronunciation of these words.
Thanks a lot, dear students, for watching this video. A special thanks to Google Co-in because the images have been taken from Google Co-in just for educational purpose. Thank you.